right along. So now let's talk about different gun. This is my chamber, no mag anywhere here, no ammo. Anyhow, so this is my 10mm Glock. It's sports. Let's see. But now that I think about it, are there any original Glock parts here? I think most of the frame is original, the grip is modified. There's nothing else really here that's original Glock, because I wanted to build myself a 10mm that I can take hunting. If you wish, I went hunting with a friend and we walked up and down the hills. It was getting fairly warm with a rifle, and I'm lazy. So I want to go pig hunting with a gun, with a handgun. And to that extent, I built myself this 10mm. Took no time and effort. I like it a lot. It's a lone wolf slide, lone wolf barrel. The trigger, most of the internals are from glocktriggers.com. There's a Haley skimmer trigger here. I like the trigger, so I use it across a bunch of my guns. Nice gun, shoots really well. It's accurate, and with a 6-inch barrel, I get appreciably more velocity than I would with a shorter barrel. Right. This actually started life, I think, as a Glock 21 SF, a 45 caliber slim frame. I don't have very large hands, so I had a friend of mine modify the frame for me a little bit. Did a very good job. It's not terribly aggressive, but it has a better grip, and it's a little bit rounded, so it fits my hand better. From an optics standpoint, I'm still an optics guy. I also wanted to use it as a platform to test some red dot sights. And the dilemma that I had, that was before I discovered this Unity tactical slide, which also didn't work great for me from an optics testing standpoint, excuse me. I found that if you want to test a lot of different sights, most of the slide melt jobs out there are specific to a particular site. Basically, you send them the slide, you send them the red dot site that you want, and they will customize it for you. And that's what you get to use, right? And you can't easily switch it to a different site. You can switch to a different site from the same site if yours breaks, but switching, from Mjolnir to Doctor is not trivial. Possible, I guess, but not trivial. You can conceivably do it with some adapter plates and all sort of stuff, but then you run into issues. The only company I think that does this, what they call the multi-site cut, is CZ Custom, and they do this for CZ handguns. And I'm thinking of doing it. I have a CZ that I don't shoot very much, for a CZ compact. I'm thinking of sending that off for them to do the modification on, so that perhaps I can use that also. But anyhow, after some searching on the internet, I found this company called sitemount.com, site-mount.com. I'll put its name in the comments. And they make this interesting contraption here. It is basically a short Picatinny rail that attaches to the slide by using the standard Glock groove, and they make this for nearly any handgun known to man, but it attaches to standard Glock groove. And in the front, I don't know if you can see it well right here, you need to drill and tap one more hole for a third screw. So it's held in the back using the dovetail, and it's held in the front using the drilled and tapped screw, all on Loctite. I've been shooting it with quite a bit, with fairly happy 10mm loads, and it hasn't given me any issues, right? And once I have this now, any red dot sight that has a Weaver or Picatinny mount, I can pop on here and use it for testing purposes. That I've been doing with reasonable success. Most recently, it had this little Miyota Mio Red on it. I'll talk about that in a subsequent clip. It works well. That's the good part, right? Oh, another good part is that I don't want to point at myself too much. So if you, I don't know if you can see it, there's a channel milled straight through it, so that makes for a rear sight. When I don't have a red dot on it, it's a perfectly reasonable rear sight with a pretty wide notch, which I like. The front is the Heine, I'm not sure how to pronounce this company, Heine front sight, which is what I use on all my Glocks. All my Glocks have this fairly standard Heine ledge straight 8 sights with a tall and narrow front blade and a wide rear notch. That's what works for me. But anyhow, so this works real well. I can rip off the sight and I have my iron sights. I'm accurate with these sights. Does it work well as a red dot sight mount? Yes, it does, but there are a couple of caveats. So what are they? You cannot co-witness with this, right? So you cannot set it up so you see your iron sights for obvious reasons. I can think of a couple of design modifications that would maybe let you do that, but that would make for very tall iron sights. So that's a no-go. And the sight axis is appreciably higher than the top of the slide. And I never appreciated that that could be a problem for me until I took this gun with me to a front sight to take a handgun class, where you do a lot of presentation drills. And I realized that what doesn't look like a huge difference, or it's less than an inch probably, in height, is actually makes a difference for me. I am so grooved into presenting the gun in a very specific way that I present and I go, oh shit, I don't see the dot, and I have to drop my hands very slightly to adjust. Now, for slow fire, it's not an issue. It only makes a difference if you go fast. And even when you're going fast, you can get used to this. It's not terribly difficult to get used to this. The problems start if you're going from gun to gun, right? One of the things that is important for me is that my presentation is more or less the same with different guns that I use. I use this Glock, some other guns. My presentation is generally about the same, right? And I get that front sight right in front of me, and I do it very instinctively. I couldn't do it with this because the sight was higher enough. So if you are setting this up in multiple guns that you use, or this is your one gun, and that's what you're going to use, it is not a bad way to go. Pardon me. All right. So to wrap up with the sight mount, so what basically happens is that when you're aiming with the red dot versus when you're aiming with the iron sights, you get your presentation is slightly different, and I'm not sure I like that too much. But then again, my situation is that I shoot a lot of different guns, so this change in height is a little bit of a pain in the ass for me. But for testing guns, this is great. Anything with a Picatinny mount fits just fine. But anyhow, aside from that, I'll keep using it. We'll see how it goes. The mount itself comes with 2 white dots on the 2 sides. I do not like the 3 dot sight picture. I use either just black sights or 1 dot over the other. So I did a high-tech thing. I took a Sharpie and covered it up. It seems to be rubbing off a little bit, so I'll need to do it again. And that's effectively that. Okay. Now on the next clip, I'll talk a little bit about red dot sights, namely this new Miopta and a Leupold, and then I am done with video clips for today. It's too much talking for me.